The endless road. It was close to midnight when Mike and Derek left the movie theater. The streets were mostly empty, with only a few cars passing by. Their late-night movie had run longer than expected, and the thick silence of the night made everything seem quieter, more intense. Derek had an early flight to catch in the morning, and Mike, always the good friend, offered to drop him off at the airport. They joked about the horror movie they'd just seen as they drove, each trying to shake off the lingering sense of unease that had followed them out of the theater. Mike laughed nervously, saying, "Glad it's just a movie, right?" Derek nodded, but there was a tension in his eyes as if something about the film had stuck with him. Mike dropped Derek off at the airport with a quick goodbye, and then he turned his car around to head home. He had an early shift in the morning, and the thought of his bed sounded better than anything else. But as he started driving, he realized something strange. His GPS wasn't showing the usual route home. The familiar roads of his town looked unfamiliar in the darkness. Tall trees loomed on either side of the road, their branches stretching out like skeletal fingers. Shadows seemed to dance in the headlights, and every turn he took felt more twisted, like the trees were pulling him in. He checked his phone, hoping to get his GPS back on track, but his battery was dead. A chill crept up his spine. "No problem," he muttered to himself, trying to shake off the sense of unease. "Just keep driving straight. I'll hit a main road soon enough." But after half an hour of driving, he noticed something strange. The same abandoned gas station he'd passed 20 minutes earlier appeared again, illuminated by his headlights. He blinked, shaking his head. "No way," he whispered. "I've been driving straight." He turned down a different street, hoping it would lead him somewhere else. But 5 minutes later, he was back at the same gas station. His pulse quickened. Panic bubbled up inside him as he realized he was caught in some kind of loop. No matter where he turned, he ended up back at that lonely gas station, its dim lights flickering as if mocking him. After several attempts to escape, he stopped the car and sat in silence, his breathing ragged. The world outside his car was pitch black, and the headlights only seemed to highlight the darkness beyond. A deep, primal fear clawed at his mind. Something was wrong. He felt a vibration, a faint, rhythmic thumping. It was too steady to be his heartbeat. He looked around and then down at his car. The sound was coming from beneath it. Slowly, he opened the door, stepping out into the cold night air. The silence was absolute, pressing down on him. He crouched down beside the car, heart pounding as he looked underneath. Nothing, just an empty road and his own breath fogging in the night. But when he straightened up, he felt a chill trickle down his spine. On the other side of the road, just at the edge of his vision, a figure stood in the shadows. It was tall, impossibly still, and clothed in darkness. He couldn't make out a face, but he could feel its gaze on him, piercing through the night. "Hello?" he called, his voice trembling. The figure didn't move or respond. Mike's instinct was to get back in his car, but his legs felt rooted to the spot. Then, without warning, the figure vanished. Blinking, he looked around, heart racing. He thought he saw it again, just for a moment, this time closer, almost beside his car. He stumbled backward, tripping and falling against his car door. He fumbled with the keys, yanking the door open and diving back inside. His hands shook as he gripped the steering wheel, his eyes darting around, searching the darkness. He told himself it was just his mind playing tricks, a side effect of the movie's lingering tension. He slammed on the gas, tearing down the road. He didn't care if he looped back to the gas station. He just wanted to keep moving, to escape whatever it was that haunted these roads. The road stretched endlessly before him, but he kept driving, adrenaline pushing him forward. Minutes passed, and then he saw something up ahead, another car, its headlights flashing. Relief washed over him as he slowed, pulling up alongside it. But as he looked through the other car's window, his relief turned to horror. Inside was a man frozen in terror, and that man was him. His own face stared back at him, twisted in fear, trapped in that other car. He couldn't move, couldn't scream. It was as if he were watching a nightmare come to life, trapped in an endless, haunting mirror. He blinked, and the other car vanished, leaving him alone in the darkness. He was sure of one thing now. He was not alone on this road. Then his radio crackled, breaking the silence. A whisper, faint and chilling, echoed through the car. "You can't leave. You're part of this road now." Panicking, he tried to turn off the radio, but it kept whispering, repeating those haunting words over and over. The shadows outside his car seemed to press closer, creeping in through the windows, wrapping around him like a suffocating shroud. He gripped the wheel, his knuckles white, and floored the gas, determined to break free. The car sped faster, the trees blurring as he pushed the engine to its limits. The gas station, the trees, everything became a dark blur. He drove for what felt like hours, the radio whispering that same phrase, searing it into his mind. "You're part of this road. You'll never leave." And then, silence. The car slowed, the radio dead, the road ahead empty. He'd escaped. He laughed, breathless, filled with relief. But as he glanced in his rearview mirror, his blood ran cold. The figure stood there in the back seat, its dark eyes meeting his in the mirror. "You're part of this road now," it whispered, its breath cold against his neck. The car engine sputtered and died, and as the darkness closed in, he realized there was no way out. He was trapped, a part of the endless road, just like the shadows he had seen, doomed to wait for the next lost soul who would dare venture down this path. Thank you for joining me in the shadows. If you enjoyed the journey, please subscribe and share a creepy Vault 45 with friends, because some chills are best when we're not alone.